Sun is moving into the sign of Cancer on July 16th, and will remain there until August 17th, 2026. It is essential to note that these interpretations are based on sidereal or Vedic astrology, which accounts for the approximately 24-degree difference with the tropical zodiac. This is an important transit because Jupiter is already moving through Cancer, its sign of exaltation, so Sun and Jupiter will occupy the same sign during this period. Cancer is ruled by Moon, and both Sun and Jupiter have a friendly relationship with Moon, giving this combination a generally supportive background. The influence of their conjunction will be stronger when the two planets are closer by degree and gradually change as Sun moves farther through Cancer. Sun represents identity, confidence, leadership, authority, father figures, status, vitality, and the desire to be recognized. Jupiter represents wisdom, knowledge, growth, teachers, guidance, faith, ethics, and our ability to see the bigger picture. When these two planets come together, there can be a stronger desire to learn, teach, advise, and take responsibility. People may feel more confident about what they know, more willing to express their beliefs, or more prepared to step into positions where others look to them for guidance. This combination also has a more complicated side. As Sun comes close to Jupiter, Jupiter becomes combust, which means the powerful light of Sun can temporarily overpower some of Jupiter's natural qualities. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer and remains very strong by sign, but during the closer part of the conjunction, wisdom can become mixed with ego, confidence can become overconfidence, and strong beliefs can become self-righteousness. Some people may feel certain that they know what is best for everyone while becoming less willing to listen to advice themselves. For this reason, the Sun and Jupiter combination is not simply a promise of easy good fortune. It can certainly support leadership, education, teaching, mentoring, and personal growth, but its best results come when confidence is combined with humility. Depending on the house Cancer represents in each person's chart, the transit can bring expansion and greater attention to that area of life while also revealing where expectations, pride, or certainty have become excessive. On August 5th, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Sun and Jupiter in the same sign. Mercury had already entered Cancer earlier, turned retrograde, returned to Gemini, and now comes back into Cancer in direct motion. This makes Mercury's return especially important because conversations, plans, decisions, or ideas that developed earlier may now return for reconsideration or finally begin moving forward. With Mercury added to Cancer, communication, writing, business, planning, teaching, and intellectual activity become more strongly connected with the house being activated for each sign. 3 planets are now concentrating their energy in Cancer, making this house one of the most active areas of life during the second half of the transit. Mercury can help people put their ideas into words, discuss plans more clearly, and approach practical matters with greater mental focus. Another major event occurs on August 12th, when there will be a total solar eclipse. In the sidereal zodiac, Sun and Moon come together at approximately 25 degrees 48 minutes Cancer, in Ashlesha nakshatra. Ketu is transiting the early degrees of the neighboring sign of Leo, so although the Sun and Moon are in Cancer and Ketu is in Leo, the new moon still occurs sufficiently close to the Ketu side of the lunar nodal axis to form an eclipse. This makes it a Ketu-side solar eclipse. By the time of the eclipse, Sun has moved much farther through Cancer and is no longer in a close conjunction with Jupiter. Jupiter remains in Cancer and continues to influence the overall background of the transit, but the eclipse itself is primarily formed by the Sun, Moon, and their proximity to Ketu. The eclipse activates the Cancer house in each person's chart, and can bring a significant turning point in the matters governed by that house. Solar eclipses can coincide with interruptions, revelations, closures, new directions, or situations that develop in unexpected ways. Sometimes something that has been building quietly becomes impossible to ignore. At other times, a person realizes that an old direction, attachment, or pattern can no longer continue in the same way. Because this eclipse occurs in Ashlesha nakshatra, deeper emotional and psychological themes can also become important. Ashlesha is connected with attachment, entanglement, hidden motives, instinct, emotional complexity, and the ability to understand what lies beneath the surface. Around this eclipse, some people may become more aware of a complicated emotional attachment, family pattern, or situation that has been difficult to understand clearly. Something hidden may become more visible, or a person may recognize that they need to loosen their hold on something they have been trying too hard to control. This entire Sun transit therefore has several different layers. The broader Sun and Jupiter influence can support confidence, learning, leadership, and growth, but it can also increase pride, overconfidence, and excessive certainty. Mercury's arrival on August 5th brings more communication, planning, and mental activity into the same area of life. Then the solar eclipse on August 12th creates a more sensitive turning point, bringing the potential for change, revelation, or redirection. Wherever the sun goes in transit for 1 month, our soul and our focus go into things related to that house. A person will feel gravitated, motivated, or even forced to take up things related to the house where the sun is moving. Likewise, if the sun is transiting over any significant natal planets in your chart, especially your moon, Mars, or Jupiter, those themes will activate prominently in your life. It's essential to look at dignity of planets to derive precise outcomes. To accurately assess the impact of these transits, it is crucial to consider your ascendant and moon signs. The ascendant sign offers insights into the timing of life events, while the moon sign reveals how you will emotionally respond to these changes. Take into account the position of your current Mahadasha Lord in your birth chart, as it can shed light on how these transits will influence the recurring themes of your current dasha period. This transit may manifest differently for each individual, and how they navigate this transit will depend on their personal charts. A more precise understanding of the impact of this transit can be gained by examining the Sun's Ashtaka score in Cancer. Keep in mind that the effects of this transit are contingent on Sun's interaction with the planets in individual birth charts. It's also worth noting that individuals currently experiencing the influence of Sun dasha periods may feel the effects of this transit more intensely. To understand how this transit may affect you based on your zodiac sign and the houses it transits, let's delve into those specifics. For Aries, Sun is joining Jupiter in Cancer and activating your 4th house of home, mother, property, vehicles, education, emotional security, and inner peace. This house represents your foundation in life, so during this period, your attention is likely to turn toward your living situation, family responsibilities, and the things that make you feel genuinely settled and secure. You may become more aware of what needs to change at home or what kind of environment you want to create for yourself. Sun rules your 5th house of education, children, creativity, intelligence, and romance, while Jupiter rules your 9th house of father, higher learning, teachers, beliefs, and good fortune, as well as your 12th house of foreign lands, spirituality, expenses, and withdrawal. When the 5th and 9th lords come together, there is a strong connection between education, wisdom, guidance, and personal growth. Since this happens in your 4th house, many of these developments can become connected with your home and family life. This can be a meaningful period for education. Some Aries individuals may study from home, prepare for an examination, or become more serious about a subject that has long interested them. Parents may become more involved in their children's education and future plans. Since both the 5th and 9th houses are connected with knowledge, this transit can also support teaching, counseling, mentoring, or sharing what you know with others. Your father, a teacher, mentor, or elder may become more involved in your home or family life. You may receive useful guidance about a domestic decision, or family circumstances may bring you closer to someone whose advice influences your next step. Some people may organize a religious ceremony, spiritual gathering, or educational activity at home, while others may create a quiet space for prayer, meditation, or study. Property and living arrangements can also receive more attention, but this is a period of increased focus rather than a guarantee of financial gain. You may think about buying a home, moving, renovating, purchasing a vehicle, or making your environment more comfortable. Existing property matters may begin moving forward, particularly if they involve family members or guidance from elders. Decisions should still be based on practical circumstances rather than the assumption that exalted Jupiter automatically guarantees a profitable outcome. The closer Sun comes to Jupiter, the more important it becomes to balance confidence with wisdom. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. This can make you feel very certain that you know what is best for your family. Your intentions may be good, but your confidence can become so strong that you stop listening to other people in the home. Sun represents authority, while Jupiter represents beliefs and advice. Their combination in the 4th house can make you protective of your family, but it can also make you more controlling. You may try to guide your mother, children, or relatives according to what you believe is right, while they may have very different ideas. Differences between parents may also become more noticeable. The best results come when you use your knowledge to support the family rather than trying to make every decision for everyone. Because Jupiter also rules your 12th house, expenses connected with the home are possible. Money may go toward repairs, renovation, education, travel, a vehicle, spiritual activities, or helping a family member. Foreign connections may also become linked with your domestic life. Some Aries individuals may consider relocating abroad, returning home from another country, working with foreign people from home, or making living arrangements connected with travel or education. This can also be productive for private work done from home, especially teaching, writing, consulting, or counseling. Emotionally, this transit can make you think more seriously about what security actually means to you. The 4th house is not only the physical home, it is also your inner sense of peace. You may have a comfortable house and still realize that something is missing emotionally, or discover that a simpler environment gives you more peace than the things you once thought you needed. Learning, creativity, spiritual practice, or meaningful family conversations can help you understand yourself more deeply. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and activates your 4th house. Mercury rules your 3rd and 6th houses, so conversations, paperwork, practical responsibilities, and problem-solving become more important. You may discuss a move, property matter, family plan, educational decision, or change in your daily routine. There may also be more communication with siblings or relatives about home responsibilities. If documents or agreements are involved, read everything carefully. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls in Cancer and activates this same 4th house. This can bring a significant turning point involving your home, mother, family dynamics, property, living arrangements, or emotional security. A situation developing quietly may suddenly demand attention. New information may change a plan, a family matter may enter a different phase, or you may realize that your current living situation no longer gives you the stability you need. The eclipse does not automatically mean that something bad will happen, nor does it guarantee a positive completion. Its role is more often to reveal where change is necessary. For some Aries individuals, this may involve moving, renovating, or reconsidering a property decision. For others, the shift may be emotional rather than physical, involving a relationship with the mother, a family pattern, or an old attachment to the past. Because the eclipse occurs in Ashlesha nakshatra, complicated emotional bonds can become especially important. This is a period for observing what comes to light rather than forcing an immediate solution. Overall, this transit brings strong attention to your foundation in life. Education, children, father figures, teachers, spirituality, and foreign connections can all become linked with your home and family circumstances. The period can support learning, meaningful guidance, and improvements to your living environment, but it also asks you to manage pride, family expectations, and the desire to control outcomes. Strengthen your foundation, listen carefully to the people you live with, and allow the eclipse period to show you what needs to change before making irreversible decisions. For Taurus, Sun is joining Jupiter in Cancer and activating your 3rd house of communication, courage, skills, self-effort, writing, short journeys, siblings, and initiative. This is a house where results depend heavily on what you are willing to do for yourself, so this period can make you more active, expressive, and determined to move an idea forward. You may feel a stronger desire to speak up, learn something useful, start a personal project, or put consistent effort into a goal that has remained in the background. Sun rules your 4th house of home, mother, property, vehicles, education, and emotional security, while Jupiter rules your 8th house of transformation, research, shared finances, and hidden matters, as well as your 11th house of gains, income, ambitions, networks, and elder siblings. When these planets come together in the 3rd house, your own effort becomes connected with several important areas of life. What you write, say, learn, and repeatedly work toward can influence your income, social connections, and deeper changes developing beneath the surface. One of the strongest themes is the connection between effort and gains. Jupiter, the lord of your 11th house, is moving through the 3rd house of personal initiative, suggesting that progress is more likely to come through what you actively build than through waiting for an opportunity. This can be productive for writing, teaching, marketing, sales, content creation, consulting, social media, or any work where communication and consistent effort matter. A skill you have been developing may become more useful financially, or an idea may attract people who can help you take it further. Jupiter also rules your 8th house, adding a deeper and more investigative quality. You may become interested in subjects that require research and the ability to look beneath the surface. Psychology, astrology, healing, finance, taxation, insurance, confidential information and investigation can become especially interesting. If your work involves research or specialized knowledge, this transit can help you communicate complex ideas in a way others can understand. Your communication style may become more confident. Sun brings authority to the third house, while Jupiter adds knowledge and a desire to explain. People may ask for your opinion or advice more often, particularly if you have expertise in a particular subject. You may feel more comfortable writing, speaking publicly, recording content, or presenting your ideas. For some Taurus individuals, this can be the beginning of a project built around the voice, writing, or knowledge. The closer Sun comes to Jupiter, the more important it becomes to watch over confidence. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. In the third house, this can make you extremely certain about your ideas and impatient when other people do not agree. This can create problems with siblings, neighbors, colleagues, or people you communicate with regularly. Advice can begin sounding like a lecture, especially when you are trying to help someone who did not ask for guidance. You may also overestimate how much you can accomplish and take on too many projects at once. Confidence is useful, but real results will come from consistent effort rather than enthusiasm alone. Relationships with siblings can become more important. Since Jupiter rules the 8th and 11th houses, conversations with a sibling may involve money, family responsibilities, shared resources, or something that has remained unspoken. An elder sibling may offer useful advice or introduce you to an opportunity, but differences of opinion are also possible. Communicate openly without assuming that every disagreement must be won. Sun's rulership of your 4th house connects home and family matters with this active 3rd house period. You may travel because of family responsibilities, handle documents connected with a home or vehicle, or put effort into improving your living situation. Your mother may need more communication or practical support. Some Taurus individuals may begin a project from home, study from home, or use their communication skills to support a family goal. Short journeys are also possible, but they are likely to have a purpose. Travel may be connected with work, education, family, research, or meeting someone important to your plans. The 3rd house also governs the practical courage to try something unfamiliar. If you have been thinking about starting a channel, writing project, course, business idea, or new skill, this period can encourage you to take the first practical steps. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and adds more activity to your 3rd house. Mercury rules your 2nd house of wealth and speech and your 5th house of education, intelligence, and creativity, so communication becomes even more closely connected with money, learning, and creative expression. This can support writing, teaching, negotiations, content creation, and practical planning. An idea you were reconsidering may return with greater clarity, or a delayed conversation may finally move forward. With so much activity in the 3rd house, mental overload is possible. You may have too many messages, plans, ideas, and responsibilities competing for attention. Focus on a small number of meaningful priorities rather than scattering your energy across everything that seems interesting. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls in Cancer and activates this same 3rd house. This can bring a significant turning point involving communication, a sibling, personal project, skill, short journey, or the direction of your daily efforts. Something you have been working on may change direction, or new information may make you reconsider whether a particular goal deserves the energy you have been giving it. The eclipse can also change the way you use your voice. Some Taurus individuals may begin communicating more openly, while others may stop explaining themselves to people who are unwilling to listen. A project involving writing, media, or communication may enter a new phase, but it is better to observe developments around the eclipse rather than forcing an immediate outcome. Overall, this is an active and mentally stimulating transit that asks you to use your skills with greater purpose. Your efforts can create valuable connections and future gains, particularly when they involve communication, knowledge, or specialized research. At the same time, manage overconfidence, listen carefully, and avoid scattering your energy. The most important question is not simply how much you are doing, but whether your daily effort is taking you towards something that genuinely matters. For Gemini, Sun is joining Jupiter in Cancer and activating your 2nd house of wealth, savings, family, speech, food, and personal values. This house shows not only what you earn, but what you can preserve. Your attention may turn toward financial security, family responsibilities, your voice, and what you truly want to build for the future. Sun rules your 3rd house of communication, courage, skills, self-effort and personal initiative, while Jupiter rules your 7th house of marriage, business partnerships and one-to-one dealings, as well as your 10th house of career, status and public reputation. When these planets come together in your 2nd house, your efforts, communication, partnerships, career and finances become closely connected. What you say, what you know and how effectively you deal with other people can directly influence your financial position. One of the strongest possibilities is earning through communication or knowledge. Sun, the lord of your 3rd house, activates the house of accumulated resources, supporting writing, speaking, sales, marketing, media, content creation or work that depends on personal skills. Jupiter adds the influence of career and partnerships, making this especially relevant for consulting, teaching, advising, client-facing work and knowledge-based professions. A skill you have developed may become more valuable, or you may think more seriously about turning your knowledge into a stable source of income. Career matters can also become closely connected with financial decisions. Since Jupiter rules your 10th house, professional developments may influence your salary, savings or long-term plans. You may negotiate better terms, discuss compensation, take on greater financial responsibility or reconsider whether your current work provides the security you want. Jupiter from Cancer also aspects your 10th house, adding further emphasis to professional development, although results still depend on your decisions and efforts rather than arriving automatically. Business partnerships and client relationships are another important part of this transit. Jupiter rules your 7th house, so money may become connected with a spouse, business partner, client or important agreement. If you run a business, you may discuss prices, revenue, investment, or how responsibilities are divided. If you are employed, your ability to build trust with clients, managers, or professional contacts can influence financial progress. A spouse or partner may also become more involved in discussions about savings and family responsibilities. This is not a guarantee that income or family wealth will automatically increase. The 2nd house is about both earning and managing resources, and the closer Sun comes to Jupiter, the more important it becomes to watch financial overconfidence. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. This can make plans appear more promising than they really are or encourage you to assume that future income is already guaranteed. Be careful about making large financial promises, overspending because you expect more money to arrive, or entering a business arrangement without examining the practical details. Jupiter can expand expectations, while Sun can make you confident enough to defend a decision even when someone offers useful advice. Think about long-term financial growth while remaining realistic about what is available to you now. Speech is equally important because the 2nd house governs the voice. Sun can make your speech more authoritative, while Jupiter gives it a knowledgeable and persuasive quality. People may take your opinions more seriously, which can help in negotiations, teaching, presentations, or professional discussions. The same combination can make you sound overly certain, preachy, or dismissive. You may genuinely believe you are helping, especially in family matters, but your words can create tension if advice begins to sound like judgment. Family discussions may therefore become more important. Conversations about money, responsibilities, traditions, or future plans can bring people together, but they can also reveal differences in values. Because Jupiter rules both partnership and career houses, your spouse or professional decisions may become part of these discussions. Some Gemini individuals may need to balance family expectations with what a partner or career situation requires. Listening carefully will be just as important as speaking confidently. The 2nd house also represents food and consumption, so this transit can increase enjoyment of good food or family gatherings. Jupiter can encourage excess, while Sun can increase heat or intensity in the body. Reasonable habits around food and spending can help prevent comfort from turning into overindulgence. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and adds another layer to your 2nd house. Mercury is your sign lord and also rules your 4th house of home, mother, property, and emotional security, making the 2nd half of the transit more personally significant. You may become more focused on financial planning, family conversations, or decisions about how your money supports your home and future security. Mercury can help with reviewing budgets, discussing financial arrangements, organizing documents, and clarifying practical details. Your communication becomes even more important, particularly if your work involves speaking, writing, or negotiation. Since Mercury is returning to Cancer after its earlier retrograde movement, a financial discussion, family matter, or decision connected with home and security may return for further consideration. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls in Cancer and activates this same second house. This can bring a significant turning point involving finances, savings, family dynamics, speech or personal values. An income source may change, an unexpected expense may alter your priorities, or a family discussion may reveal something requiring a different approach. You may also question whether your financial choices genuinely reflect what matters to you. The eclipse does not automatically mean financial loss, just as Jupiter in the second house does not guarantee financial gain. It is more accurate to see this as a period when your relationship with money, family, and security may begin changing. Observe what develops and allow important information to become clear before making irreversible commitments. Overall, this transit can connect your communication skills, professional knowledge, and important relationships with greater financial awareness. There is real potential to strengthen your earning ability and make intelligent long-term plans, particularly through work involving knowledge, clients, or communication. At the same time, manage overconfidence, speak carefully, and avoid assuming that future prosperity is guaranteed. The most valuable result may be a clearer understanding of what you truly want to build and preserve for the future. For Cancer, this is one of the most personally significant transits of the year because Sun and Jupiter are coming together in your first house of self, identity, physical body, personality, and overall direction in life. When major planets move through the first house, their influence is felt personally. You may become more aware of who you are becoming, how others see you, and what direction you want your life to take. Sun rules your second house of wealth, family, speech, and personal values, while Jupiter rules your sixth house of daily work, health, competition, debts, and obstacles, as well as your ninth house of father, teachers, higher learning, beliefs, and good fortune. Their combination connects these areas directly with your personal decisions. Money, family responsibilities, work, health, education, and guidance from important people can influence how you see yourself and what you do next. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, so its longer transit through your first house can support personal growth, greater interest in knowledge, and a stronger desire to understand the larger direction of your life. You may become interested in education, spirituality, travel, or subjects that broaden your perspective. A father figure, teacher, or mentor may influence an important decision, or you may begin questioning old beliefs and developing a clearer philosophy of your own. Sun adds confidence, visibility, and authority. You may feel more willing to express your opinions, take the lead, or put yourself forward for opportunities. Since Sun rules your second house, your speech can become more powerful and direct. You may speak more openly about your goals, finances, or family responsibilities. This can help in interviews, presentations, leadership, and situations where you need to represent yourself confidently. This is not only a period of easy growth and good fortune. Jupiter also rules your sixth house, so personal growth may come through dealing with practical problems. You may need to improve your routine, manage a heavier workload, resolve a debt, address a health matter, or handle competition more effectively. Something creating difficulty in everyday life may become impossible to ignore. For some Cancer individuals, this can be a period of greater discipline. You may begin exercising, change your diet, organize your schedule, or take work more seriously. For others, increased responsibilities may reveal that the current routine is unsustainable. The sixth lord in the first house can make work and problems feel very personal, so avoid defining yourself entirely by what needs to be fixed. The closer Sun comes to Jupiter, the more important it becomes to distinguish genuine confidence from excessive certainty. Jupiter is exalted in your sign, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. This can temporarily make the bigger picture harder to see. You may feel extremely confident about your beliefs, decisions, or advice while becoming less willing to consider another point of view. Because Jupiter rules your ninth house, this can appear through disagreements involving beliefs, education, father figures, or teachers. You may reject useful guidance because you feel certain that you already know what is best, or become so enthusiastic about a new idea that you expect everyone to agree. The best results come when confidence grows without losing the ability to listen. Relationships are also influenced because Jupiter from Cancer aspects your fifth house of romance, seventh house of marriage and partnership, and ninth house of higher learning and beliefs. This can increase attention toward love, children, and important relationships. Some Cancer individuals may meet someone through education, travel, or shared interests, while existing relationships may involve serious conversations about the future. This does not guarantee a new relationship or automatic improvement in an existing one. As your identity and direction change, relationships may also need to adjust. Finances and family remain important because Sun carries second house matters into your first house. You may focus more on earning, saving, or supporting family members. Your decisions can directly affect financial security, and family expectations may influence your choices. Be careful with speech during disagreements, because Sun and Jupiter can make your words sound more authoritative than you realize. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and adds another layer to your first house. Mercury rules your third house of communication, skills, and effort, as well as your 12th house of foreign lands, expenses, spirituality, and withdrawal. This can make you more talkative, mentally active, and interested in expressing your ideas. Writing, speaking, planning, and learning may become important, while foreign connections or private work can also influence your decisions. Since Mercury is returning to Cancer after its earlier retrograde movement, an idea, conversation, or personal plan from previous weeks may return for reconsideration. You may feel ready to explain yourself more clearly or move forward with something that previously felt uncertain. With several planets concentrated in your first house, you may become overly focused on your own plans, so make space for other people's perspectives. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls directly in Cancer and activates your first house. An eclipse here can mark an important turning point in identity, appearance, priorities, or life direction. You may begin seeing yourself differently, or circumstances may force you to reconsider a path you thought was settled. A personal decision, health matter, relationship dynamic, or change in responsibility may become part of this process. The eclipse does not automatically produce either a positive or negative transformation, and its direction may not be immediately clear. The days surrounding it are better used for observation than for forcing irreversible personal decisions. What first feels confusing may eventually reveal why an old direction can no longer continue in exactly the same way. Overall, this is a deeply personal transit that can bring growth, stronger confidence, and a greater desire to define your own path. Education, mentors, work, health, family, and relationships can all influence the person you are becoming. The opportunity is real, but so is the need for humility and practical effort. Strengthen your routines, listen to useful guidance, and pay attention to what the eclipse reveals about your changing priorities. By the end of this transit, you may not have every answer, but you can have a much clearer understanding of the questions that now matter most. For Leo, Sun is joining Jupiter in Cancer and activating your 12th house of foreign lands, expenses, spirituality, isolation, rest, sleep, hospitals, retreats, and matters developing behind the scenes. This is a quieter and more private area of the chart, so your attention may turn away from constant outward achievement toward things that need to be completed, understood, or prepared privately. You may want to spend more time alone or work on something without immediately showing it to others. Sun is your first house lord, representing your identity, vitality, and overall direction, while Jupiter rules your fifth house of education, intelligence, creativity, children, and romance, as well as your eighth house of transformation, research, shared resources, and hidden matters. When these planets come together in the 12th house, your personal direction becomes connected with withdrawal, foreign places, spiritual growth, and deeper internal change. This can be meaningful, but much of what happens may not be immediately visible to others. Foreign connections are among the strongest possibilities. You may travel abroad, prepare for an international opportunity, communicate with people from another country, or become involved with work operating across borders. Since Jupiter rules your fifth house of education, some Leo individuals may consider studying abroad, taking an online course from a foreign institution, or investing in education that expands future possibilities. Children may also become connected with foreign travel, overseas education, or additional expenses. Creative work can develop strongly behind the scenes. The fifth Lord Jupiter in the 12th house can support writing, research, design, artistic projects, or intellectual work done privately before it is shown to the world. If you have been thinking about stepping away from public attention to complete something meaningful, this transit can support that process. Ideas developed now may become more visible later, once Sun enters your own sign and your personal energy begins turning outward again. The 12th house is also connected with spirituality, meditation, and retreats. With your first and fifth lords meeting here, you may become more interested in spiritual study, philosophy, or practices that help you understand your own mind. Some Leo individuals may visit a temple, retreat center, or distant place for reflection. Others may simply feel less interested in social attention and more interested in understanding what has been happening internally. Jupiter's rulership of your 8th house adds another layer. Research, psychology, healing, astrology, occult subjects, and areas requiring you to look beneath the surface can become more interesting. You may discover information that changes your understanding of a situation or recognize a pattern that has quietly influenced your decisions. This can be especially useful for anyone involved in research, counseling, investigation, or confidential work. The 12th house also governs expenses. Money may go toward travel, education, children, healthcare, spiritual activities, or something you are developing privately. Some expenses may be useful investments in your future, while others may come from poor planning or the desire to escape stress. Keep track of where your resources are going rather than assuming every expense will eventually bring a return. The closer Sun comes to Jupiter, the more important it becomes to distinguish genuine insight from excessive certainty. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. In the 12th house, this can make it difficult to judge whether an idea comes from genuine understanding or simply from what you strongly want to believe. You may become deeply convinced about a spiritual belief, foreign opportunity, investment, or private plan without having all the practical information. Because Jupiter also rules your 8th house, hidden details may matter more than expected. Before spending heavily, making a major sacrifice, or placing complete trust in something happening behind the scenes, give yourself time to understand the full situation. Health, rest, and sleep also deserve attention. Since Sun is your 1st house lord, its movement through the 12th house can temporarily reduce your desire for constant outward activity. This does not necessarily indicate poor health, but it can show that your body needs more recovery time. If you have been overworking or ignoring exhaustion, the need for rest may become more obvious. A medical matter requiring attention should be handled practically rather than postponed. Relationships may also take on a more private or distant quality. Since Jupiter rules your 5th house, some Leo individuals may experience a romantic connection involving distance, foreign places, or circumstances requiring privacy. Existing relationships may need more emotional space. This is not automatically a sign of separation. Sometimes the 12th house simply creates a need to process feelings privately before discussing them. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and adds more mental activity to your 12th house. Mercury rules your 2nd house of wealth and speech and your 11th house of gains, income, and networks, so financial matters, private conversations, and future goals can become connected with foreign places or behind-the-scenes work. You may communicate privately about money, prepare a project before launching it, or reconnect with a previously delayed opportunity. Since Mercury is returning to Cancer after its earlier retrograde movement, a foreign connection, financial plan, or private project may return for further consideration. This can help with research and preparation, but mental rest is also important. Too much private thinking can turn into worry, especially if you keep trying to solve everything alone. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls in Cancer and activates the same 12th house. This can bring a significant turning point involving something ending, being released, or moving beyond your immediate control. A foreign matter, expense, private project, spiritual question, or period of isolation may change direction. Something that has remained hidden may become easier to understand. Because the eclipse occurs in Ashlesha nakshatra, emotional attachments and hidden psychological patterns can become especially important. Overall, this is a period for preparation, reflection, and completion rather than constant outward display. Foreign opportunities, education, creativity, research, and spiritual growth can all become important, but expenses and hidden details require careful attention. The insights and decisions developing privately now may influence your next chapter once Sun enters Leo and your personal momentum begins to return. Rest when necessary, complete what is unfinished, and pay attention to what becomes clearer when you are no longer trying to remain visible all the time. For Virgo, Sun is joining Jupiter in Cancer and activating your 11th house of gains, income, ambitions, friendships, professional networks, elder siblings, and long-term goals. This is an active house for material progress and future planning, so your attention may turn toward what you want to achieve and which people can help you move in that direction. You may become more ambitious, connect with influential people, or become serious about turning a long-held goal into something practical. Sun rules your 12th house of foreign lands, expenses, spirituality, isolation, and matters developing behind the scenes, while Jupiter rules your 4th house of home, mother, property and emotional security, as well as your 7th house of marriage, business partnerships, and one-to-one relationships. Their combination connects gains and future goals with foreign places, partnerships, property, family circumstances, and your wider network. One of the strongest possibilities is progress through collaboration. Jupiter, the lord of your 7th house, is moving through the 11th house of gains and connections, supporting business partnerships, client relationships, and professional alliances. Someone you work with may introduce you to a useful contact, help you reach a wider audience, or join you in a project that creates future income. Business owners may expand their client base or discuss how an existing partnership can grow. Marriage and personal relationships may also become connected with future plans. A spouse or partner may support an ambition, introduce you to new people, or become involved in a financial decision. Some Virgo individuals may discuss shared goals more seriously, including where to live, how to manage resources, or what they want to build together. Relationships may be evaluated partly according to whether both people are moving in a compatible direction. Jupiter's rulership of your 4th house creates another connection. Gains may come through property, a home-based activity, family support, or work connected with land, vehicles, or education. Some people may receive rental income, benefit from a property development, or use their home as the base for a professional project. Your mother or another family member may also introduce you to an opportunity or provide practical support. This does not guarantee promotions, bonuses, or easy financial growth. Sun rules your 12th house, so income and expenses can increase together. You may earn more but also spend more on travel, family, property, business development, social commitments, or long-term plans. A foreign opportunity may create future potential while requiring investment first. The important question is not simply whether money is coming in, but whether you are keeping enough and using it wisely. Foreign connections can be especially important because the 12th lord is in the 11th house. You may gain through international clients, overseas organizations, online audiences, or people living far away. A distant goal may become more realistic through a foreign connection. At the same time, do not assume that every international opportunity or impressive new contact will produce the promised results. The closer Sun comes to Jupiter, the more important it becomes to manage expectations. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. In the 11th house, this can expand ambitions until you expect too much from yourself, friends, or your professional network. You may become convinced that one connection, partnership, or opportunity will solve everything. This can create disappointment if others do not support your goals as expected. A friend may have different priorities, a business partner may move more slowly than you want, or a professional contact may have less influence than you assumed. The best results come from building genuine relationships rather than approaching every connection only according to what it can provide. Friendships and social circles can become more active. You may meet knowledgeable or ambitious people connected with fields that interest you. Some relationships can expand your thinking and introduce you to opportunities you would not have found alone. You may also become involved with a group, organization, or community connected with education, business, spirituality, or a social cause. Your relationship with an elder sibling may also become important. There can be support, advice, or a shared plan, but differences involving money, family, or expectations are possible. Since Sun can bring pride and Jupiter can increase certainty, avoid turning a disagreement into a question of who knows better. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and adds another layer to your 11th house. Mercury is your 1st house lord and also rules your 10th house of career and public reputation, increasing communication connected with professional goals, income, and networking. You may attend more meetings, reconnect with professional contacts, or discuss a previously delayed project. Since Mercury is returning to Cancer after its earlier retrograde movement, a career conversation, financial plan, or professional opportunity may return for reconsideration. This can help you review terms and clarify expectations. Intelligent communication can help you build valuable connections, but with several planets concentrated here, too many invitations, ideas, and possibilities may compete for your attention. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls in Cancer and activates the same 11th house. This can bring a significant turning point involving a long-term goal, friendship, income source, professional network, or group association. A goal may change form, or you may question whether something you once wanted still matters in the same way. A friendship or professional connection may also enter a different phase. Someone may leave your circle, A new person may become unexpectedly important, or information may change how you see a group or organization. This does not automatically mean sudden wish fulfillment or loss. The eclipse can simply reveal that your future is developing differently from what you originally imagined. Overall, this is a highly active period for ambitions, income, partnerships, and professional connections. There is real potential to expand your network and progress toward important goals, particularly through collaboration, foreign connections, property, or people who share your interests. At the same time, income and expenses need to be managed together, and promises from friends or partners should remain realistic. The most important result may be a clearer understanding of which goals still deserve your energy, and which people genuinely belong in the future you are trying to build. For Libra, Sun is joining Jupiter in Cancer and activating your 10th house of career, status, public reputation, authority, responsibility, and professional direction. This is one of the most visible areas of the chart, so developments may be noticed by employers, colleagues, clients, and others who observe your work. Your attention may turn toward what you want to achieve professionally and in public space, how others see you, and whether your current career direction reflects the position you eventually want to reach. Sun rules your 11th house of gains, income, ambitions, professional networks, and long-term goals, while Jupiter rules your 3rd house of communication, courage, skills, and personal effort, as well as your 6th house of daily work, competition, disputes, debts, and problem-solving. Their combination connects career directly with income, ambition, communication, effort, and the ability to handle difficult responsibilities. This can be professionally significant, but results are more likely to come through visible effort and problem-solving than luck alone. One of the strongest possibilities is greater visibility at work. Sun represents authority and recognition, and as the lord of your 11th house, its movement through the 10th house connects professional activity with gains and future goals. You may become more determined to achieve a promotion, improve your income, reach a larger audience, or move toward greater influence. A project may place you before important people, or your work may receive more attention than usual. Jupiter's 6th house rulership shows that increased visibility can also bring increased responsibility. You may receive a difficult task because others believe you can handle it. A workplace problem may require your involvement, or you may manage competition, deadlines, employees, clients, or disagreements. Career progress may come precisely because you are willing to deal with something others would prefer to avoid. More responsibility can create more visibility, and more visibility can eventually create gains. The period may therefore feel demanding even when your career is moving forward. If you wait for recognition without taking on additional effort, the transit may feel less rewarding. But if you demonstrate competence under pressure, solve practical problems, and communicate clearly, people in authority may begin seeing you differently. Jupiter's rulership of your 3rd house makes communication another major factor. Writing, speaking, teaching, presentations, marketing, media, and sales can directly influence professional progress. You may need to explain an idea, defend a proposal, lead a meeting, or communicate with people who have greater authority. Some Libra individuals may begin a professional project that depends heavily on their voice, knowledge, or ability to reach an audience. This can also support training and skill development, especially when the knowledge has a practical connection with your career. You may take a course, learn a new system, or develop a communication skill that helps you work more effectively. If your profession involves teaching, counseling, law, administration, healthcare, consulting, or solving other people's problems, this can be particularly active because knowledge, authority, and service connect naturally with these fields. The closer Sun comes to Jupiter, the more important it becomes to manage professional pride. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. In the 10th house, this can make you extremely confident about your professional judgment. You may feel that your experience or knowledge gives you the right answer even when another person sees the situation differently. This can create tension with managers, senior colleagues, or authority figures. You may have a good idea but present it too forcefully, or become frustrated when your advice is not immediately accepted. Since Jupiter also rules your 6th house, disagreements can become competitive if you feel you need to prove yourself. Let your competence speak through your work rather than turning every difference of opinion into a contest. Daily workload and health also need attention. The 6th lord moving through the 10th house can increase professional obligations, making it difficult to separate work from the rest of life. Long hours, deadlines, or pressure to maintain your reputation can become tiring. This does not necessarily indicate a health problem, but your routine needs to support the level of responsibility you are taking on. Professional networks can also become important because Sun rules your 11th house. A friend, colleague, or industry contact may connect you with an opportunity, but your own reputation will determine what happens next. You may become involved with a larger organization, professional group, or team connected with your ambitions. Career gains are possible, but they are more likely to develop through sustained visibility and useful connections than immediate rewards. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and adds another layer to your 10th house. Mercury rules your 9th house of higher learning, father figures, teachers, and long-distance travel, as well as your 12th house of foreign lands and behind-the-scenes matters. This can bring more meetings, negotiations, writing, and planning into professional life. Foreign companies, international clients, education, or advice from an experienced person may become connected with career decisions. Since Mercury is returning to Cancer after its earlier retrograde movement, a professional conversation, application, project, or decision may return for reconsideration. Something delayed may begin moving again, but the details may have changed. This is useful for communication and review, although important decisions still deserve careful consideration as the eclipse approaches. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls in Cancer and activates the same 10th house. This can bring a significant turning point involving career, public reputation, leadership, or professional direction. A role may change, a project may enter a different phase, or a decision made by someone in authority may affect your plans. Some Libra individuals may reconsider whether their current career path still represents what they want to become. The eclipse does not automatically mean promotion or career loss. It is more accurately understood as a period of professional redirection and increased awareness. Avoid forcing an irreversible decision simply because emotions or pressure are unusually strong. Observe what changes and what information becomes available. Overall, this is a professionally significant transit that can increase visibility, responsibility, and ambition. Your communication skills, daily effort, and ability to solve difficult problems can directly influence your career and future gains. There is real potential to strengthen your reputation, but you also need to manage professional pride, competition, and workload carefully. The people watching you may be paying attention not only to what you achieve, but also to how you handle responsibility when the situation becomes demanding. For Scorpio, Sun is joining Jupiter in Cancer and activating your 9th house of higher learning, father, teachers, mentors, beliefs, religion, long-distance travel, and the broader direction of your life. This is one of the most important houses for understanding where life is taking you beyond your immediate responsibilities, so during this period, you may become more interested in learning, travel, philosophy, or finding a greater sense of meaning in what you are doing. Questions about your future direction can become more important, especially if you have been following a path without feeling completely certain about where it is leading. Sun rules your 10th house of career, status, authority, and public reputation, while Jupiter rules your 2nd house of wealth, family, speech, and accumulated resources, as well as your 5th house of education, intelligence, creativity, and children. When these planets come together in your 9th house, career, money, education, and personal knowledge become closely connected. What you learn during this period can influence your professional direction, and your experience or expertise may become more valuable to other people. One of the strongest possibilities of this transit is professional growth through education. You may begin a course, pursue a qualification, develop specialized knowledge, or become interested in a subject that could influence your career in the future. For some Scorpio individuals, this can mean formal higher education. For others, it may involve professional training, independent study, or learning directly from someone with greater experience. The important point is that knowledge gained now can have a practical connection with your long-term professional path. Teaching and sharing knowledge are equally important. Jupiter rules your 5th house and is moving through the 9th, creating a strong connection between intelligence, education, and higher wisdom. This can be particularly active in teaching, consulting, counseling, publishing, law, research, or other knowledge-based fields. You may guide others, explain complex subjects, or take on a role with greater authority. Sun's rulership of your 10th house can increase professional visibility through these 9th house matters. A teacher, mentor, father figure, or senior person may influence your career direction or introduce an opportunity. Long-distance travel or another culture may also become professionally important. You may work with international organizations, travel for education or career, or consider opportunities farther away. Money and family are connected with this transit because Jupiter rules your second house. Knowledge can become a source of income, particularly through teaching, writing, advising, or specialized expertise. You may also spend money on education, travel, or something intended to improve your future. Family may become involved in discussions about study, career, or long-distance plans, while family values influence decisions. Your speech can take on a more philosophical or authoritative quality. You may share your beliefs or knowledge more confidently, and people may seek your opinion. The closer Sun comes to Jupiter, the more important it becomes to distinguish wisdom from certainty. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. In the 9th house, this can make your beliefs feel extremely strong. You may become convinced that your understanding is correct and dismiss another perspective. Disagreements about religion, philosophy, education, or ethics can become more personal than necessary. This can also affect relationships with teachers, mentors, or father figures. You may receive useful guidance but reject it because it conflicts with what you already believe, or expect an experienced person to support your plans simply because you respect them. Remain willing to learn even as your knowledge and confidence grow. Your relationship with your father may become more important. There may be more communication, advice, or involvement in a decision concerning education, travel, or career. This may strengthen the relationship or expose differences in beliefs and expectations. The outcome depends on the existing relationship, so harmony should not be assumed. Children and their education may also receive attention because Jupiter rules your 5th house. You may become more involved in a child's studies, future plans, or development. You may travel with children or make important educational decisions. Creative work can also benefit from deeper study, especially when it requires knowledge, research, or cultural understanding. Long-distance travel is another strong possibility. Journeys may involve education, career, family, pilgrimage, or experiences that change your perspective. Travel can be meaningful, but remain flexible about plans. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and adds another layer to your 9th house. Mercury rules your 8th house of research, shared resources, and hidden matters, as well as your 11th house of gains, networks, and long-term goals. This can support research, writing, publishing, and detailed study. Earlier research may return for consideration, or unclear information may begin making more sense. Since Mercury is returning to Cancer after its earlier retrograde movement, a travel plan, educational decision, application, or important conversation may return for review. You may reconnect with a teacher, reconsider a course, or revive a delayed idea. Mercury's connection with your 11th house can also bring useful contacts through education, travel, or professional networks. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls in Cancer and activates this same 9th house. This can bring a significant turning point involving higher education, travel, beliefs, a father figure, teacher, or your broader direction. A plan may change, new information may alter your perspective, or an experience may challenge something you previously accepted. The eclipse does not automatically bring good fortune simply because it occurs in the 9th house. It can open a new direction through uncertainty, a changed plan, or the realization that an old belief no longer explains your life. Allow your understanding to develop rather than rushing to replace one certainty with another. Overall, this is a powerful period for learning, teaching, and reconsidering where your knowledge can take you. Education can influence career, expertise can become financially valuable, and important people may expand your perspective. Remain humble about what you know. The greatest opportunity is not simply to become more certain of your beliefs, but to develop wisdom that remains open to learning even when confidence is strong. For Sagittarius, Sun is joining Jupiter in Cancer and activating your 8th house of transformation, shared finances, inheritance, insurance, taxes, research, hidden matters, and changes developing beneath the surface. This is a deeper and less predictable area of the chart, so your attention may turn towards situations requiring investigation, adjustment, or acceptance of things you cannot completely control. You may become more aware of what needs to change, what has been hidden, and where greater understanding is necessary before moving forward. Jupiter is your 1st house lord and also rules your 4th house of home, mother, property, and emotional security, while Sun rules your 9th house of father, teachers, higher learning, beliefs, and good fortune. When the 1st and 9th lords come together, personal growth, knowledge, guidance, and life direction become connected. Because this occurs in the 8th house, growth may come through a change in perspective, important information, or a situation requiring you to reconsider something you believed was secure. Research and deeper learning are among the strongest possibilities. The 8th house favors subjects requiring patience, investigation, and the ability to look beneath appearances. You may become interested in psychology, healing, finance, astrology, spirituality, history, family patterns, or subjects involving hidden systems and deeper causes. If your work or studies involve research, this can be productive for uncovering information that was previously difficult to understand. The 9th Lord's Sun in the 8th house can also transform your beliefs. An experience may cause you to question a long-held idea, or information may change how you understand your future direction. A teacher, father figure, or mentor may influence this process, but the relationship itself may also require adjustment. Advice that once guided you may no longer fit your situation, or you may need to develop your own understanding rather than depending entirely on someone else's answers. Because Jupiter is your first house lord, these changes can feel deeply personal. You may reconsider who you are, what gives you security, and what you are willing to leave behind. This does not mean a dramatic external event must occur. Sometimes an 8th house transit works quietly, through a realization that changes how you approach relationships, money, family, or your future. Home and family can also become connected with this process because Jupiter rules your 4th house. Property documents, family finances, or responsibilities involving a parent may require attention. Some Sagittarius individuals may become interested in family history, ancestral matters, or information connected with older generations. You may help a family member organize important documents or discuss matters previously avoided. Shared finances are another major theme. The 8th house governs a spouse's income, joint accounts, loans, taxes, insurance, and inheritance. Existing matters in these areas may require review or discussion. There may be opportunities to improve how shared resources are managed, but this should not be treated as a guarantee of inheritance or financial gain. Joint financial matters can simply become more important and require greater transparency. The closer Sun comes to Jupiter, the more important it becomes to avoid assuming that your judgment is automatically correct. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. Since Jupiter is your first house lord, you may feel convinced that you understand what is happening even when important information remains hidden. This is especially relevant in financial, family, and personal matters. You may trust a belief, advisor, or assumption without examining every detail. Sun as the 9th lord can make you confident in your principles, while combust Jupiter can temporarily reduce your willingness to question your interpretation. Research carefully before making decisions involving shared money, property, or confidential information. The same combination can also produce a crisis of belief. Something you once considered certain may become more complicated, or an experience may force you to accept that there is no immediate answer. This can feel uncomfortable for Sagittarius, which naturally looks for meaning and direction. Yet one valuable possibility is learning to remain open while your understanding changes. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and adds another layer to your 8th house. Mercury rules your 7th house of marriage and partnerships and your 10th house of career and public reputation. This can bring important conversations involving a spouse, business partner, contract, shared financial matter, or professional change. Information affecting a partnership or career decision may require deeper investigation. Since Mercury is returning to Cancer after its earlier retrograde movement, a discussion, financial matter, or agreement from previous weeks may return for reconsideration. Something that seemed settled may require another conversation, or missing information may become available. This can help with reviewing documents and asking questions, but avoid rushing simply because you want certainty. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls in Cancer and activates this same 8th house. This can bring a significant turning point involving shared finances, trust, intimacy, family matters, research, or deeper personal transformation. Something hidden may become more visible, or a situation developing quietly may require a different approach. The 8th house is also connected with unpredictability, so avoid unnecessary risks and handle stressful situations patiently, especially around the eclipse. This does not mean accidents or crises should be predicted. It simply means situations may not develop according to plan, making flexibility more useful than forcing an outcome. The eclipse does not automatically indicate loss, and Jupiter's exaltation does not guarantee that every change will end in your favor. This period can expose what needs to be understood, reorganized, or transformed. Some changes may eventually prove valuable, while others may require patience before their meaning becomes clear. Overall, this is a period of deeper change rather than simple outward expansion. Research, shared finances, family matters, beliefs, and personal identity can all become connected with transformation. Jupiter gives you the capacity to learn through what you discover, but the transit asks you to remain patient when answers are incomplete. The most important result may be a deeper understanding of yourself, your attachments, and the things you can no longer approach in the same way. For Capricorn, Sun is joining Jupiter in Cancer and activating your 7th house of marriage, committed relationships, business partnerships, clients, contracts, and important one-to-one dealings. This house represents the people you meet on equal terms, so your attention may turn toward how you cooperate with others, what you expect from close relationships, and whether important partnerships are moving in a direction that works for both people. Sun rules your 8th house of transformation, shared finances, inheritance, intimacy, trust, and hidden matters, while Jupiter rules your 3rd house of communication, courage, skills, and personal effort, as well as your 12th house of foreign lands, expenses, spirituality, and behind-the-scenes matters. Their combination connects relationships with deeper changes, important conversations, shared responsibilities, foreign connections, and matters requiring greater honesty. One of the strongest themes is that important relationships may need to grow beyond their current form. If you are married or committed, conversations about the future can become more serious. You may discuss shared finances, living arrangements, responsibilities, travel, or a decision affecting both people. Since Sun rules your 8th house, the focus is not necessarily light or casual. Questions of trust, vulnerability, and how much each person is willing to share can become more important. This can deepen a relationship when both people communicate honestly. Something unspoken may finally be discussed, or a couple may make an important decision together. The same combination can expose a problem that has been avoided. The transit does not guarantee greater commitment or harmony. It makes important one-to-one relationships harder to ignore. For those who are single, meeting someone significant is possible, particularly through travel, foreign connections, education, communication, or work involving different backgrounds. Jupiter's 12th house rulership can bring relationships with someone living far away or from another country or culture. Sun's 8th house influence suggests that connections formed now may carry emotional complexity or require deeper adjustment rather than remaining simple and casual. Business partnerships and client relationships are equally important. Jupiter rules your 3rd house of communication and effort, so success with others depends heavily on how clearly you discuss expectations. This can be useful for consulting, advisory work, international business, or professions where direct client relationships are central. You may attract attention through your communication or a skill you have developed. Foreign connections can also play an important role because Jupiter rules your 12th house. A business partner, client, or collaborator from another country may become more significant. You may discuss expanding into a foreign market, working remotely with people abroad, or developing a project behind the scenes. These possibilities can be valuable, but may require more expenses, sacrifice, or patience than expected. Shared finances deserve careful attention because Sun carries 8th house matters into the 7th house. Money connected with a spouse or business partner may become a subject of discussion. You may need to review how expenses, investments, debts, or responsibilities are divided. In business, financial transparency is especially important. Do not assume goodwill is enough when practical terms remain unclear. The closer Sun comes to Jupiter, the more important it becomes to manage expectations. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. In the 7th house, this can make you or the other person extremely certain about what a relationship should become. Advice can turn into pressure, while confidence about the future can create unrealistic expectations. You may believe you know what is best for a spouse or partner, while they may see things differently. In business, someone may make large promises without fully considering what delivery requires. Because Jupiter rules your 3rd house, communication is the key. Ask questions, explain expectations, and make sure both people understand the same agreement rather than assuming they do. The 12th house connection can also create periods of distance or withdrawal. A partner may travel, need more private time, or become occupied with matters you cannot control. Some relationships may require sacrifice or additional expenses. This does not automatically indicate separation. It means partnership may involve circumstances requiring flexibility and understanding. Your public dealings can also become more visible. The 7th house represents how you interact with the wider world through clients, contracts, and direct exchanges. You may become known through a partnership or receive attention because of the people you work with. Your identity and needs should not disappear inside the relationship. Jupiter from the 7th house aspects your 1st house, so important partnerships can influence how you see yourself and your direction. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and adds another layer to your 7th house. Mercury rules your 6th house of work, disputes, and daily responsibilities, as well as your 9th house of higher learning, father figures, and long-distance travel. This can bring more conversations, negotiations, and practical decisions into relationships and business partnerships. Work responsibilities, travel, or differences in beliefs may become part of what needs discussion. Since Mercury is returning to Cancer after its earlier retrograde movement, a relationship conversation, contract, client matter, or business agreement may return for reconsideration. Something delayed may begin moving again, but the terms may need review. This can help with negotiation and clarification, but major commitments should not be rushed simply because communication has restarted. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls in Cancer and activates this same 7th house. This can bring a significant turning point involving marriage, a committed relationship, business partnership, client, or important agreement. A relationship may enter a new phase, or it may become clear that an existing arrangement needs to change. The eclipse does not automatically indicate marriage or separation. It can bring commitment for some and distance for others, but its broader meaning is a change in how an important relationship functions. Avoid forcing immediate answers around the eclipse. Allow conversations and circumstances to reveal what the relationship actually requires. Overall, this is a highly relationship-focused period that can bring growth, deeper conversations, and important new connections. Marriage, business, foreign dealings, and shared responsibilities can all become more significant. At the same time, manage expectations, communicate clearly, and remain realistic about promises. The most important relationships in your life may be changing, and the real opportunity is to understand which partnerships can grow through honesty, and which arrangements need a different way of working. For Aquarius, Sun is joining Jupiter in Cancer and activating your 6th house of daily work, responsibilities, health, competition, debts, disputes, and practical problems. This is a house where progress usually comes through effort rather than ease, so you may focus more on improving your routine, handling a demanding workload, or resolving something that has been creating difficulty. You may become more capable of confronting problems directly, but responsibilities can also increase. Sun rules your 7th house of marriage, business partnerships, clients, and important one-to-one relationships, while Jupiter rules your 2nd house of wealth, family, speech, and accumulated resources, as well as your 11th house of gains, income, ambitions, and professional networks. Their combination connects work, money, relationships, and daily responsibilities. Financial progress may depend on how effectively you handle practical problems, while partnerships may require more effort, adjustment, or honest discussion. One of the strongest possibilities is increased activity in your working life. Jupiter, the lord of your 11th house of gains, is moving through the 6th house of employment and daily effort. This connects income and future goals with consistent work, service, and problem solving. You may take on more responsibilities, handle a complicated assignment, or become involved in work requiring patience and organization. The results may not feel effortless, but useful work done now can strengthen your professional position over time. This can be particularly active for people working in healthcare, law, administration, finance, compliance, customer service, consulting, or professions involving problem solving. Competition may also increase. You may need to prove your ability, respond to criticism, or work harder to stand out. In some cases, a difficult situation can become the reason your skills receive more attention. Jupiter in the 6th house should not be interpreted only as protection from problems. Jupiter expands what it influences, and as lord of your 2nd and 11th houses, it can increase the connection between money and practical obligations. Income may grow through employment or additional work, but expenses, debts, or financial responsibilities can also require attention. You may earn more while simultaneously needing to pay for something important. Loans, repayments, and financial agreements can therefore become significant. You may focus on clearing a debt, restructuring an obligation, or dealing with money connected with work. Family members may also need practical or financial support. The best use of this period is to improve how resources are managed rather than assuming greater income alone will solve every problem. Sun's rulership of your 7th house brings relationships into this 6th house environment. A spouse or business partner may become involved in your daily responsibilities, or their work and health circumstances may require attention. Couples may need to discuss how duties are divided, particularly if one person feels they are carrying more of the practical burden. If unresolved problems already exist in a relationship, this transit can bring them into the open. The 6th house is connected with disagreement, so minor frustrations can become larger when repeatedly ignored. At the same time, this period can be useful for solving problems. A relationship may improve because both people are finally willing to discuss what is not working. Business partnerships and client relationships also require care. You may deal with demanding clients, contractual disagreements, or expectations that need clarification. If you run a business, this can be useful for improving operations, fixing inefficiencies, and organizing the systems that support future growth. The work may not be glamorous, but it can strengthen the business. The closer Sun comes to Jupiter, the more important it becomes to avoid overconfidence in your ability to handle everything alone. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. In the 6th house, this can make you believe you can take on more work, obligations, and problems than your schedule realistically allows. You may also become overly certain that your solution is correct. In workplace disagreements, this can make compromise difficult. You may feel your experience or knowledge justifies taking control, while colleagues or partners see the situation differently. Use your confidence to solve problems without turning every disagreement into a battle that must be won. Health and daily routines are another important part of this transit. The 6th house governs how everyday habits affect the body, so this can be useful for becoming more disciplined about exercise, food, sleep, or medical care. Jupiter can increase excess, while Sun can encourage you to push through fatigue, so balance is important. If a health matter has been neglected, practical attention is more useful than assuming it will resolve by itself. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and adds another layer to your 6th house. Mercury rules your 5th house of education, intelligence, creativity, and children, as well as your 8th house of shared finances, research, and hidden matters. This can increase analytical thinking and focus on details. Complex work, research, financial documents, and problems requiring careful investigation may receive more attention. Since Mercury is returning to Cancer after its earlier retrograde movement, a work issue, health routine, debt, dispute, or practical problem from previous weeks may return for further consideration. Missing information may become available, or you may discover that an earlier solution needs adjustment. This can be productive for reviewing details and correcting mistakes. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls in Cancer and activates this same 6th house. This can bring a significant turning point involving work, health, debts, competition, disputes, or daily routines. A workplace situation may change direction, a responsibility may become more urgent, or you may realize that your current routine is no longer sustainable. The eclipse does not automatically indicate illness, job loss, or the successful resolution of every problem. Its more accurate role is to expose where change in your daily life has become necessary. A work situation may need a different approach, a health habit may need to change, or a financial obligation may require greater organization. Overall, this is a practical and demanding transit that can help you become more effective in handling everyday realities. Work, money, relationships, and health can all become connected with better organization and problem solving. There is potential for gains through effort and service, but increased responsibilities need careful management. The most valuable result may be learning which problems genuinely deserve your energy, which responsibilities should be shared, and which daily patterns can no longer continue in the same way. For Pisces, Sun is joining Jupiter in Cancer and activating your 5th house of education, intelligence, creativity, children, romance, self-expression, and speculation. This is one of the most expressive areas of the chart, so during this period, your attention may turn more strongly toward what you want to learn, create, and share with others. You may feel a greater desire to develop a talent, express an idea, or spend time on something that gives you a genuine sense of personal meaning. Jupiter is your 1st house lord and also rules your 10th house of career, status, and public reputation, while Sun rules your 6th house of daily work, health, competition, disputes and practical problems. When these planets come together in your 5th house, personal growth, career, work and creativity become closely connected. Something you know, teach or create may become more important professionally, while challenges in your daily life may require greater intelligence and creativity to solve. One of the strongest possibilities of this transit is professional growth through knowledge and self-expression. Jupiter, the lord of both your 1st and 10th houses, is exalted in the 5th house of intelligence and creativity. If your work involves teaching, writing, counseling, education, media, design, performance, content creation or any field where ideas need to be shared with others, this can be a particularly active period. You may develop a project that reflects your knowledge more clearly or become more confident about showing other people what you can do. Education is equally important. You may begin a course, prepare for an examination or return to a subject that you have wanted to understand more deeply. Since Sun rules your 6th house of competition, this can be useful for disciplined study in situations where knowledge must be tested. Students may feel more determined to improve their performance, while professionals may pursue training that strengthens their position at work. The combination of the 10th and 6th lords here can show that professional progress requires intelligent problem solving. You may find a creative solution to a difficult situation, guide someone less experienced or take on work requiring knowledge and discipline. Recognition may come because you solve a problem in a way others had not considered. Children can become another focus. You may become more involved in a child's education, health, activities or future plans. A child may need guidance or practical support, including help developing a talent. The combination can bring pride in a child's progress, but expectations can also become too high. Avoid assuming that your idea of success must also be theirs. Romance can become more active because the 5th house governs love affairs and emotional attraction. You may feel more expressive in showing interest. A connection may develop through education, work, a creative activity or shared intellectual interests. Existing relationships can benefit from enjoyable activities together. This does not guarantee a new romance or an automatically happy development. Sun's 6th house rulership can bring disagreements or practical complications into romantic matters. Differences involving work schedules, responsibilities or expectations may need attention. Attraction works best when supported by realistic communication rather than idealization. As Sun approaches Jupiter, distinguish genuine confidence from intellectual overconfidence. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, but during the closer part of the conjunction, it comes under combustion from Sunday. In the 5th house, this can make you extremely certain about your ideas, creative decisions or judgment. You may become attached to a project and resist useful changes. In education, you may assume you understand a subject better than you actually do. In romance, optimism can make you see only what you want to see. Since Jupiter is your 1st house lord, this confidence can feel deeply personal, making criticism harder to accept. Financial speculation requires caution. The 5th house governs calculated risk, trading and speculative decisions, but exalted Jupiter does not guarantee profit. Jupiter can expand optimism, while combustion can make judgment more subjective. As the eclipse approaches, avoid impulsive risks based on excitement or the belief that an opportunity cannot fail. Health and daily routines remain important because Sun rules your 6th house. A creative activity, study or personal project may help manage stress, but ordinary responsibilities can be neglected. Balance inspiration with practical discipline. If you are preparing for a competition, examination or demanding project, consistent effort will be more useful than occasional bursts of enthusiasm. From August 5th onward, Mercury enters Cancer and adds another layer to your 5th house. Mercury rules your 4th house of home, mother, property and emotional security, as well as your 7th house of marriage, partnerships and important one-to-one relationships. This can bring conversations about children, education, romance or creative plans. A spouse or partner may become more involved in a decision concerning a child or future goal. Since Mercury is returning to Cancer after its earlier retrograde movement, a creative idea, educational decision, romantic conversation or matter involving children may return. Something delayed may begin moving again, or you may understand an earlier situation differently. This can be useful for writing, teaching and planning, but not every question needs an immediate answer. Then, on August 12th, the total solar eclipse falls in Cancer and activates the same 5th house. This can bring a turning point involving education, creativity, children, romance, or a personally important project. A creative direction may change, A child's circumstances may require a different approach, or a romantic situation may become clearer unexpectedly. The eclipse does not automatically indicate happiness or difficulty. It can reveal where change is necessary. A project may need a new direction, a relationship may require greater honesty, or your understanding of what brings happiness may begin changing. Speculative financial risks deserve particular caution around this period. Overall, this is a highly creative and intellectually active transit that can connect your talents and knowledge with personal and professional growth. Education, teaching, children, romance and self-expression can become more important. There is real potential to develop something meaningful when creativity is supported by discipline and practical effort. At the same time, manage intellectual pride, romantic expectations and financial overconfidence. The greatest result may be discovering which talents, ideas and forms of self-expression genuinely deserve a larger place in the life and career you are building. As we conclude this episode, please keep in mind that these insights are based on the sidereal zodiac system used in Vedic astrology, which differs from the tropical system by approximately 24 degrees. These are general predictions. The real impact depends on your dasha cycles and your individual birth chart. For a personalized analysis or consultation, feel free to reach out. If you found this video valuable, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And now, you can also hype this video to boost it within the community. Your support helps this knowledge reach more people who may benefit. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, keep learning, and keep shining bright.